there's all different layers of relationships that have meaning at the time and that may have meaning later. But at the end of the day, what you really want to be able to do is be yourself.
When you're on the job market, or if you know you're going to be on the job market, this is when you start having those conversations and reaching out to people maybe at target companies that you know and just checking in.
It's not about selling yourself to a group of people or even one person, but it's a matter of saying, this is what I do, this is what I know how to do. What do you do?
That follow-up can just be something as simple as, hey, Terry, was just thinking about you. It's been a while. How's everything in your world? Easy peasy done. You know what you just did? You put yourself back on their radar.
Welcome to Primal HR. Real people, real talk, real HR. The human side of work from the people who live it every day. Here are your hosts, longtime HR leader Terry Smith and People First strategist Leslie Lulham.
Hey everyone, welcome to our second episode of season 2 of Primal HR podcast. I am Leslie, People Operations Strategist, and I am joined by my co-host with the most, Terry, HR Professional.
And long in the tooth, I might add.
Not that long. And today we are going to talk about networking. This was such a popular episode last time that Terry and I thought, hey, let's dive in deeper. Let's talk more, because last time we touched on it. Now we're going to go deep. And fun fact, if it weren't for networking, Terry and I wouldn't have met.
And this podcast would not exist.
So, the power of networking. How long have we known each other now? It's been over a year.
Yeah, I'd say a little over a year.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and here we are.
Here's a little history. And please, Terry, jump in with your colorful commentary on this history lesson here. So, Terry and I both work in HR, obviously, or we wouldn't be doing this podcast. Or maybe we would. And we were on a platform called Alignable. Alignable is a professional networking platform which has people from all types of experiences and industries. You come together and they have this feature called a Smart Connect. Think of it like speed dating for networking.
Right.
I joined the Portland group because I love networking with people close to home. I'm just in Vancouver, by the way. So we met from the Portland Alignable group and Smart Connected. We met each other for 7 minutes and immediately we were both like, oh my gosh, we have to talk more. So we literally scheduled a follow-up call just to talk, really. And we realized we have so much in common, the same ideology as it relates to HR. I thought Terry was so cool.
Got her fooled.
He's got me fooled for a year now. Now I've got him fooled.
Nah.
So that's how we met. And it's a testament to the power of networking and when you do it right. Now, there are many ways to the mountaintop in networking, right? But we are relationship and people first networkers.
I do want to add just a little bit of historical context too, because our wizard of the boards, Tim, and I met in a networking session. So, and that was, somewhere close to around the same time, I believe. We'd been known each other for about that long. And so networking brought us Tim, networking brought us together, all three of us together, and it was all because we networked.
All because we networked. And how did this podcast come about? Well, Terry and I were chatting and we were having such a good conversation. I believe I was like, hey, we should just get on a Zoom and record it. And then I'll have the transcript and I can make content clips for this. And after we did the first one, Terry was like, we need to do a podcast. And so that's how Primal HR Podcast was born. And so let's dig into how to network, or maybe I should say, how do we network and what has been successful for us.
Right.
What works for me might not work for you. Listen, guys, I am not a biz dev girly. I am not a salesperson, but you know what I can do? Talk to people.
Right.
And I love learning about people and connecting with people. And as I started on this here HR consultant journey of me, I got one piece of advice that has stuck with me. And that is, go get your 100 no's.
Right.
And I was, at first I'm like 100, but then if you know me, you know, like small achievable tasks, I am going to run at it as hard as I can. What is the fastest way to get my 100 no's? It was alignable smart connects.
Yes.
7-minute sessions for 1 hour. And I really learned in there how I best communicate with people. You can be talking to someone in there and you can just fail miserably. Trust me, I've done it. It's okay. No one's going to remember.
Right.
And so you start doing that, you get really comfortable chatting with people, and you kind of find your groove. Yeah. And it's always, for me, this is my name, this is what I do, this is what I bring to the table. How can I help you? What are you looking for? Let's connect as humans. And then usually when the timing's right, the business just follows.
Very good point. In fact, that's kind of happening in my world right now, where I've been having these conversations and business is starting to follow. I want to add a little bit on the whole Alignable thing, and I don't mean to shamelessly plug Alignable, except, yeah, I kind of am. And that is simply that Alignable really is focused on small businesses, people who are solopreneurs or people who run small businesses, occasionally people who run small offices of larger businesses, but it's all about making connections. And the important point is that, as Leslie points out, it's not about selling yourself to a group of people or even one person, but it's a matter of saying, this is what I do, this is what I know how to do. What do you do? And what's your world story, and how did you come to this conversation, and so on. And people, I have found anyway, particularly with Alignable, but this is true of other groups, Alignable is a remarkable organization. For those of you who don't know it, there are literally tens of thousands of people involved in Alignable. Just in Oregon and Washington alone, there's something like 45 or 50,000 people who are connected into Alignable. It's fantastic. It's amazing.
And it's free.
And, well, up to a point. It
can be.
Yeah, it can be. Trivia, my Alignable membership has been a free one for the last year. And you can certainly upgrade into paid subscriptions. That's a part of a lot of these things. But you can also do a lot just in the free zone. And our experiences have proven that point, right? I mean, the vast majority of people that I network with in Alignable are also on the free program.
Yeah, we met for free.
Yeah, absolutely. So
for the low price of whatever my internet bill is.
Right. The point, again, is not so much, gee, is this a cool tool? It is, but it's an opportunity to be able to tell your story and to be able to connect with people. And it's amazing how, I hadn't been on Alignable that long when I met you,
Me
right?
neither.
And it just kind of worked out that way. And serendipity is a wonderful thing, and it happens and then it doesn't happen, and then it happens and it doesn't happen. But the point there is that when it does happen, you kind of know it. And hopefully, if you've gotten comfortable at all with having that, hi, how are you, who are you, what do you do conversation, and you're not trying to sell the person anything because they're not trying to sell you anything, it's remarkable how well it can work.
Yes, and that's when I think the adage, listen more than you talk, comes very strongly into play. When you think about people that you've spoken with, you remember the ones where you were like, wow, I got to share a lot about myself. Mm-hmm. You want to get the people talking. That's the whole point of networking. Get them talking. Ask them question after question about themselves. Don't make it like an interview, but tell me about your business. Oh, what happened here? How did you work through whatever? Where are your pain points? What are you struggling with? And that's when you can decide whether your business is a fit or not. If you're like, hey, my business can't help you,
yeah,
then but maybe you know someone who can. And it's very polite at the end of a networking session to find out who the other person is trying to meet and whether or not you know people in your network that you can connect them to. Now, I've seen two types of people in these types of situations, and I'm very curious your experience, Terry. There are people who will connect you with anybody and everybody. Sometimes that's great, but sometimes they're just trying to connect you with people to connect you with people, and they're not necessarily the highest quality leads, shall we say, in a sales perspective. Like, they don't know the person, so the introduction doesn't necessarily mean as much. Or there are people who tend to very highly curate who they're introducing to. I tend to fall into the second camp. If I know someone great that I think is going to be able to help you, I will introduce them with a glowing recommendation and say, this is why Terry is amazing and why you should talk to him, versus scouring my network for some random HR person and saying, you should talk to John Smith over here, who I've spoken with maybe once over DMs. Both are valid, but things to kind of think of, especially if you're new to network. What do I do? What do I do? Who do you know that can be beneficial to this person also? And then send the follow-up email. This is where you can say, oh, here's my website, or here's a deck. If you're a deck person, I have a deck. I like my deck, but I am always, when I send it out, I'm like, oh, brother, I'm sending someone a deck. Here we go. But sending that follow-up. And then if you don't hear back, I do the 3-day, 5-day, 8-day rule typically. Yep. So if you don't hear back from them in 3 days, you can send, hey, I know your inbox is probably busy. Just wanted to bump this up. Then don't say anything. Wait. If you want to follow up again, wait another 5 days. That puts you at day 8. Mm-hmm. But don't message someone every single day. And also, if it's just a networking follow-up, I will say one follow-up email is fine, unless you really want to chase this person down. It's a dance a little bit, but send the follow-up emails. Otherwise, people who are networking a lot, especially, I'm going to speak for myself. I know you do a lot of networking too. I'm going to forget. Mm-hmm. So send me something to remind me of you. I will send you something to remind you of me, especially if I think it's a good fit. Have I just skipped that part for folks where I knew this wasn't really going to go anywhere, or maybe I got a not so good feeling about that networking? Sure, I'm just going to let it fade into the mist.
You've hit on so many points that really resonate for me, not the least of which being the one thing the last thing you said about somebody that's just clearly a miss. I ran into somebody like that on a call quite some time ago, and it was so clearly just not, and it was a smart connect, right? So there were 7 minutes, and I had determined by minute 2 that, this is not going anywhere. And so then it was 5 minutes trying to kind of figure out, okay, how can I gracefully sort of not back away from it necessarily, but just be supportive without making commitments, right? And in a lot of ways, this is really what it comes down to, is building and establishing relationships. You're going to have relationships that just click, like Leslie and I have. You're going to have relationships that are, that's kind of interesting and so forth, and then you'll have relationships where you may only talk to somebody once or twice, right? Or maybe even once or twice, and then 6 months later, once or twice. I mean, there's all different layers of relationships that have meaning at the time and that may have meaning later. But at the end of the day, what you really want to be able to do is be yourself, right?
Absolutely. That's the best part about working for yourself.
Yeah, be yourself.
Be yourself.
And if you are at all uncomfortable with that, just be aware that we all have some degree of uncomfortability with being ourselves particularly in front of strangers, right? But I think the investment is worth the payback.
Definitely. And when you're networking, right, you're going to find people that you just click with. And folks that maybe you want to circle back with them, set those reminders. Networking with somebody once and then never talking to them again, that's just meeting a stranger. So you want to Terry and I talk all the time, but I do have people in my network where we have regular monthly check-ins, 3-month check-ins, 6-month check-ins. Make a list, write those dates down, and that follow-up can just be something as simple as, hey, Terry, was just thinking about you. It's been a while. How's everything in your world?
Right.
Easy peasy, done. You know what you just did? You put yourself back on their radar.
Exactly.
And it's so easy to do. And especially for entrepreneurs, consultants out here, keeping your network alive and active is very important. And the same thing goes for job seekers. Mm-hmm. When you're on the job market, or if you know you're going to be on the job market, this is when you start having those conversations and reaching out to people maybe at target companies that you know, and just checking in. Because then when the ask comes, hey, are you hiring for HR right now? Or, hey, I see your company has a project manager role open. You didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You were already talking to them. It makes the ask that much easier and keeps you top of mind.
100%.
Have you got a spicy take or a burning question? Drop it in our inbox. hello@primalhrpodcast.com.
You've been listening to Primal HR. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Join the conversation on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Primal HR Podcast. Show notes and more at primalhrpodcast.com. Got a topic or want to join us on the show? Reach out. Our email is hello@primalhrpodcast.com. We'll see you next time.